Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and what do Twitter and Hogwarts have in common? Well, I'm pretty sure both are fictional places, because there's no way Twitter can be real. They both, also provide exceedingly annoying individuals, but occasionally a hint of magic, such as what happened with this tweet right here. Let's take a look at what I consider the dumbest Harry Potter fan on the internet. So this Twitter user, JXE, says there is no good reason in the Harry Potter universe for magic to be kept secret from Muggles. Any moral character in that setting should be calling to the end of the divide so the magic can be used to help wider society. The fact that this is never addressed is an embarrassing oversight. Well, for one, it's entirely addressed in the books. They talk at length about why they keep secret, magic secret from Muggles. But really, no good reason?
And I was just like, really? I could give you like 17 right off the top of my head. You could wake me from a drunken stupor, I could still give you like 9.
There was this one thing that comes to my mind. There's one fun little event that happened a few hundred years ago that comes to my mind as to what might be a good reason. What was that called? The Salem witch trials, where they burned people that they thought were witches at the stake. So, I'm sure an entire society of magic users remembers that quite fondly, or really any other time that people who can cast magic or spells or whatnot have been ostracized. I mean, this has been a pretty wide belief and a negative belief throughout the majority of human history. But you know what, let's keep going, because this is actually a thread, and oh my goodness does it get better. It's made clear in the series that magic can only be cast by those who are born magical, but it's also made clear that magic still works on Muggles. Let's think about just a few of the applications it can give for people in a wider society. Magic can be used to create fully functional prosthetics that can be moved and used by the wearer as if they were a real body part. The power is hoarded by an elite society you can only get into by being born into it. We effectively already have very good prosthetics nowadays, but even if we didn't, so you're just going to go around, you're going to round up all the wizards and start forcing them to make, magical prosthetic items for people. I know another individual that at one point rounded people up and forced them to do a lot of work. I'm not going to say his name, but I'm pretty sure we all know who I'm talking about. Magic can seemingly be used as a source of free and renewable energy. If that's the case, why do they still use a train to get to their castle? A train that requires non-renewable energy. I don't think that's even accurate to the book lore. Magic is shown to have countless medical applications, including the treatment of serious injuries. Lockhart attempts to cure Harry's broken arm with a spell. He fails, but the attempt implies it's at least possible. Okay. I got many a problem with this. Countless medical applications. Yeah, technically, the books and movies do show that. We already have some pretty great medical stuff. I mean, stem cells, they're kind of awesome. We can do a lot when it comes to medical stuff. We don't really need magic to fix it. Unless you can show me an example of a spell in Harry Potter curing cancer, I don't think their magic is any much better than ours. Magic can be used for instant fast travel. Imagine this power wasn't secret. For examples, major hospitals have paramedics who are not only capable of medical magic, but can also instantly appear near a location to respond to an emergency call. Alright, so you want to round up a group of individuals, like I said before, a group of minorities, force them to do certain work. But let's say you're not forcing them. Let's say this is purely, optional and voluntary. Are these witches and wizards that are able to use instant transmission getting paid, like 5 times extra because this is a very unique skill? Are they getting paid what they're worth? Or are they getting paid the same as any other paramedic? I mean, I think we would need to factor in the economy into these sorts of things, because I could tell you, if I'm able to, instant transmission Goku style, because I'm not going to call it, apparate and disapparate. I'm a real nerd, not a Harry Potter fan. If I'm going to be able to instant transmission Goku style, and someone's like, yeah, use it to get all these people to hospitals, that way we don't have to use ambulances to do it, I'd be like, alright, am I making the same $15 an hour as an ambulance driver, or are you going to pay me what I'm worth? Because let me tell you, this is a rare skill. Only minorities like me got this. I'm going to charge for it, hundos an hour. They're going to have to make the decision, man, is paying this guy $100 an hour worth saving all these lives, or is it too expensive? And at that point, that's going to come down to human greed. Magic ain't got nothing to do with it at that point. Magic can be used to create livable spaces that are bigger on the inside. This could have major implications for creating affordable housing, particularly in high-density population areas. Right, so now not only are we going to be, forcing the wizarding folk into the medical profession, we're also going to start forcing them into civil positions like, construction workers and whatnot. They're going to construct tents for the homeless folks. I mean, do you realize what you're asking? Hey, people that made a bunch of bad life choices, I get it, not everyone made bad life choices, they're homeless, but let's say 9 times out of 10, homeless people that made a bunch of bad life choices, and you're here, you are where you are now. Why don't we go ahead and just give you a bunch of free, better living than you possibly would have gotten if you worked hard, all off the labor of these wizarding people that effectively have shown us out of the goodness of their hearts that they exist, they're here to help, and let's just use and abuse their power to solve every single problem without any sort of hard work, despite the fact that you got yourself here into this position in the first place. Don't worry, we got you. Wizards have several forms of fast travel that, as far as we're aware, could be used as alternatives to cars for the mass transited people. While Muggles won't be able to create them, I don't recall ever being presented the reason they can't use port keys or flue powder. I mean, I don't know. I don't care. It's not even real. You're just making up societal bogus at this point. Let's move on. They have bone regrowing potions. Oh my god, you could literally just give this to hospitals. Hoarding this is a deplorable act. Why are we rooting for the people in this society again? Because it's fiction. Why are we rooting for the rebels in Star Wars when technically they're, intergalactic terrorists? Because we're presented with the idea that the Empire is bad. It's not real. You know that, right, Jay? You're aware that we're rooting for the folks in this society because it's just a fun piece of fiction. I mean, at least for losers that like Harry Potter. Not me. I mean, I like anime, Star Wars. No, again, real nerd. But, yeah, they can regrow bones. Wouldn't this have also been a better for your post above where you talked about medical stuff? Why are you making an additional post like it's a new point all about You did this for traveling as well. You talked about instant transmission earlier and then the flue powder. Now you're just doubling up on your points because you can't come up with anything new. This is getting old. Hogwarts must be full of people who personally know Muggles who are suffering from problems that could be solved in an instant by magic users. The society should not be protected by our heroes. Solving problems in an instant, for one, just isn't good for humans. It's not good for people in general. If you're able to solve your problem at the drop of a hat, at the click of a button, at the snap of a finger, that's not good. It teaches you nothing. It just makes for lazy, unresolved individuals. But, you know what? Let's move on. As an audience, we're just supposed to be distracted from how awful it is by being presented with the threat of being made worse. Voldemort is even more evil than the upholders of wizard society, so the story seems to think it never has to question that society. Again, it does address it. That's already been stated. It does address it, and I'm here to remind you. Do you remember humans? Just in general, think about the concept of humans. What have we not, in our long history of existing, ever tried to conquer and kill when we didn't understand it? You want to sit there and tell me that the elites with all the money wouldn't try and use and abuse these individuals with all these magical gifts and try and bend them to their whim and do whatever they ask? And then, of course, the wizards, they'll probably want to fight back. They'll be like, hey, we don't want to be used and abused by these inferior, non-magic having mofos. And then they'll fight back. And all of a sudden, oh, wizards are violent. We need to go ahead and take them all out. Leave no wizard unkilled because they're a violent, extremist, magical group. They're a threat to our society, a threat to our safety. Like, it literally wouldn't work. The entire reason that the magical world in Harry Potter is secret is because there's no way for non-magical humans and magical ones to coexist in any realistic facet when we know how humans treat each other. There ain't too many difference between a non-magical Muslim and a non-magical Christian, and they still hate each other. Now imagine someone that's got powers in a different, belief system, and then a regular dude who, probably needs his truck fixed, but his wizard neighbor isn't going to fix it for him just at the snap of a finger. Yeah, there's probably going to be problems. Ultimately, though, even with the present threat of Voldemort's stories present countless opportunities for these questions to be asked. Professor Dumbledore, why do we allow Muggles to live their whole life with disabilities we could easily cure them of? I mean, don't know, don't care. Beyond that, I think Muggles have a right to know magic exists. So many aspects of the magical world concern the world at large. It's unlikely, but a werewolf is something you can meet. If you meet one, here's how to handle it. If you're bitten, here's how to deal with that condition. There's a potion that you can drink to stop yourself wolfing out too hard. Here, I think they almost maybe make a good point. I mean, I don't agree that, that Muggles have a right to know magic exists. I think that's heavily up for debate. Yeah, there are, I will concede, technically there are some stuff that happens in the Wizarding world that could affect Muggles. We even see this in, the third book or movie or whatever it is, when that squib chick that used to babysit Harry can, feel the presence of the Dementor. But again, if we're weighing, the pros and cons, I would say the pros of keeping your society safe and alive very much outweighs, the cons of, oh well, the occasional Muggle might get mauled by a werewolf, which the news will just assume is, a bear attack or something, and everyone moves on anyway. There are countless aspects of the magical world Muggle could happen to encounter, and in those cases the secrecy is yet again an elite society choosing to exist in secret at the detriment of everyone else. And to that, JXE, I say, you are retarded. Congratulations, here is your extra chromosome medal. But let's get to the comments, because that's why we're all really here. I mean, obviously, I made a few, I gave my thoughts, but I'm sure there are better ones than myself. People who have even more knowledge and understanding of Harry Potter than me, who are probably able to put this moron in their place, such as Olivia Lambert. It is addressed repeatedly. It's stated that revealing the magical community would lead to constant requests from the non-magical community for help. They just want to live their lives, not be martyrs to the cause. This mentality is pretty normal across the world, to be frank. And then Jay actually comes back, as I said, no good reason. This is a pretty good answer. It's a series of kids' books, actually. Harry Potter not sharing magic with Muggles is a human rights violation. And this essay, it's a series for kids' books, actually. Oh, well played, Santiago Pliego. I don't think you considered the ramifications of a minority of people with fantastic powers being known to the world at large. Anyone with a push to end that divide would either knowingly want mages to suffer or be so naive as to think mages wouldn't be exploited. Yeah, that's pretty fair. You may have heard of these periodic episodes called the Salem Witch Trials, the Inquisition. Something tells me wizards and witches have every incentive to remain secretive from the wider world. Exactly, what I said at the very beginning, Neo Unrealist. Perfect job. There is one wizard for every 6,000 muggles. Okay, interesting. I had no idea that was the case. Wizards make up 0.01% of the population. There is nowhere near enough people in the wizarding community to make any kind of difference in the majority of muggles. Maybe, maybe not. It's an interesting little stat there, though, for, Harry Potter nerds. Why didn't J.K. Rowling just write a completely different story than the one that sold hundreds of millions of books, spawned 10 or so movies with more to come, ignited a love of reading among countless children and adults that previously didn't read, made her a gajillion dollars? You know what? I think we're going to end it there. That's where that stops. Yeah. J.K. Rowling wrote a story, and it was fine. It did good numbers, and now this is what happens when things get taken too far. I mean, we're over here talking about the human rights violations in a Harry Potter book, in the Harry Potter lore, in the world. It is bananas. This is absolutely one of the dumbest users I've seen on Twitter when it has to come to things that, aren't political in nature or whatnot. Just takes that you could easily debunk by just a few thoughts. It's the Salem Witch Trials argument alone is enough to make me go like, yeah, probably don't need that happening anymore. It's that simple, but no. I just thought it'd be a little bit more fun to do something simple like this on a Saturday rather than delving deep into some sort of controversy that's, nerdy and political and woke or whatever. So that being said, please do subscribe to the channel, check out the back catalog. I am a nerdy news channel. I do nerdy news every day, whether it be Star Wars, Magic the Gathering, anime, Disney, you name it. It's all here in the nerdosphere. So check out the back catalog. Do subscribe because this has been Words of Paradise.